My name is Lauren Mitchell. I'm 29 years old, and the night my boyfriend informed me I wasn't successful enough to appear on his Instagram was the night I realized I'd been living my own life like a behind the scenes blooper reel. He didn't say it like an insult. That almost made it worse. He said it like a brand note. We'd been dating for 2 years. It was a Wednesday, 11 p.m., and we were at his apartment, the one with the exposed brick and faux marble countertops he always bragged about in reels. Leftover pizza on the coffee table, TV murmuring some crime show in the background. My laptop open with a half-finished account plan on the screen. He was on the couch next to me, hunched over his own laptop, editing photos for a jewelry collab. The bluish light from the screen lit up his cheekbones like a filter. "Babe, hand me my phone," he said without looking up. I reached for it on the table, eyes catching the lock screen. Another notification from a brand. Another DM wanting to partner. "Big one?" I asked, passing it to him. He shrugged in that fake, modest way. "Skincare company. Might take it." He went back to Lightroom, dragging sliders, tweaking highlights. On the screen, it was him and his friend Chloe, another influencer, laughing over cocktails at some rooftop bar. She had about 150K followers. He had 92K. Together, their feeds looked like a travel magazine, and a luxury catalog had a baby. I watched him flick between photos. Designer watch, statement boots, beige trench coat, warm-toned lighting. "Does this look too warm to you?" he asked. "It looks like every other photo on your feed," I said, smiling. "That's the point," he said. "Consistency." He tilted his head, assessing his own jawline. I stared at him for a second, then heard my own voice before I could stop it. "Random question," I said. "Are you ever going to post me?" His finger froze on the trackpad. "What?" he said. "On your Instagram." I shut my laptop a little. "We've been together for 2 years. I'm not in a single post." He still didn't look away from his screen. "We've talked about this." "Have we, though?" I asked. "You always just say you keep your private life private. But your private life is all over your stories. Your friends, your gym, your iced coffee, your dentist." "That's different," he said. "How?" I asked. He finally turned, eyes narrowing, like I'd interrupted a negotiation. "Look, Lauren," he said, "my Instagram is curated. It's aspirational content. Luxury, lifestyle, success, that whole vibe. My followers expect a certain standard." Something in the way he said standard made my stomach tighten. "A certain standard like?" I said. He sighed, as if I were making him explain simple math. "You're great," he said. "You know I love you. But you're in enterprise software sales. You make what, 80? 78 base," I said automatically. "Usually around 95 with commission." "Exactly," he said. "You drive that little Honda, you live in that apartment out in the suburbs. It's fine for real life, but it's not really Instagram material, you know?" I stared at him. "Don't look at me like that," he added quickly. "I'm being honest." "So I'm what?" I asked quietly. "Bad lighting?" He rolled his eyes. "My feed is about aspiration," he said. "Designer bags, nice restaurants, travel. If I posted you, it would be confusing for my brand. My followers would be like, wait, he's dating a regular woman with a regular job? It doesn't match the lifestyle he's selling." "The lifestyle you're selling," I repeated. "Yes," he said. "That's literally my job. Content creation is about selling a fantasy, and He waved a hand, like he was trying to grab the right word from the air. "Your reality," he said. "You're normal." The word hit harder than it should have. "So I'm good enough to sleep next to," I said slowly, "but not good enough to be seen with on your grid." "Oh my God, don't be dramatic," he said. "It's not about good enough. It's about brand alignment. If I was dating someone really successful, like a founder or a finance guy or whatever, that would be different. That adds to the narrative. But a mid-level sales rep? It hurts my positioning." Mid-level. My cheeks were hot. I could feel my pulse in my throat. "Wow," I said. "You asked," he said, shrugging. "I'm just being straightforward. You're always saying you want honesty." I stared at the pizza slice in my hand, suddenly nauseous. Then something in my brain flipped. "You know what?" I said, setting the plate down. My voice sounded weirdly calm, like it belonged to someone else. "You're absolutely right." His eyebrows knitted. "I am?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm not successful enough for your Instagram. I'm too normal, too mid-level." I stood up, picked up my keys from the table. "Which is why we should break up." He laughed once, like he'd misheard. "Wait, what?" "We're done," I said. "Thanks for being honest." "Lauren, seriously?" he said, sitting up. "You're breaking up with me over this?" "You just told me I'm not good enough to be publicly associated with you after 2 years," I said. "Yeah, I'm serious." I didn't say not good enough, he shot back. I said brand alignment. There's a difference. Not really, I said. I grabbed my jacket from the back of his chair. I'll come get the rest of my stuff this weekend, I added, when you're out. He followed me to the door. You're being incredibly immature right now, he said. You're taking this way too personally. Probably, I said, opening the door. Still leaving, though. The hallway was quiet. My heart was roaring in my ears. I drove home in a kind of numb autopilot, the city lights streaking past like someone else's timeline. I wasn't even angry. Not yet. Just humiliated. 2 years of being cropped out. Not even Instagram story worthy. I parked outside my building and sat there in the dark car, fingers wrapped around the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles ached. He wasn't wrong about everything. I was mid-level. I'd been coasting at my company for 3 years. Same accounts, same routine, same 95,000, give or take. I took my commission check, paid my bills, bought candles when they were on sale, and called it stability. I'd told myself it was healthy balance. He'd called it not aspirational enough. I thought of the way he'd said if I was dating a founder or a finance guy, like it was a menu option he just hadn't ordered yet. Then another thought came, sharp and cold. If I'm going to be invisible, I might as well be invisible on my own terms. The next morning, I went into my manager's office before he'd even finished his coffee. I want the enterprise accounts, I said. He looked up slowly. The enterprise accounts, he repeated. Yeah, I said. Healthcare, manufacturing, all of it. I want them. He blinked. Those are tough, he said. Long sales cycles, a ton of competition. Most reps avoid them. I know, I said. I don't want to avoid them anymore. He studied me for a second, eyes narrowing, like he was trying to place what had changed. What happened? He asked. I got motivated, I said. So, do I get them or not? A slow smile tugged at his mouth. Hell yeah, you get them, he said. Close the door. Let's talk strategy. The next 2 months almost killed me, in a good way and a bad way. I was up at 6, in the office by 7:30, out after 9 most nights. Weekends blurred into research, reading annual reports, mapping org charts, stalking executives on LinkedIn. I built decks until my eyes burned. Cold called people who hung up on me 3 sentences in. My friends started asking if I'd joined a cult. Are you okay? My coworker Jenna asked one Saturday when she saw me hunched over my laptop at the office instead of at brunch. You look possessed. I'm fine, I said, scribbling notes. Just focused. On what? She pressed. I could have said, proving to myself I wasn't mid-level, proving I was more than normal, proving some smug influencer would never again get to define my value like a caption. Instead, I just said, my career. In month 3, I closed a deal with a hospital network. 7 weeks of back and forth. 3 demos. 2 procurement calls that felt like interrogations. 1 VP who seemed determined to say no just to see if I'd crumble. I didn't. When they finally signed, my commission check looked unreal. 40-something thousand for 1 contract. My manager pulled me into a conference room and shut the door. Whatever you're on, he said, shaking his head, bottle it and sell it to the rest of the team. Month 4, I landed a manufacturing account worth $890,000. 2 weeks later, a regional retail chain, $540,000. Month 5, my manager called me into his office. The regional VP was there, smiling. We're promoting you to senior account executive, she said. Base goes to 110. Commission structure gets better. You'll be working exclusively on enterprise accounts from now on. 7-figure deals. I just nodded like I'd already rehearsed the moment. Congratulations, Lauren, she said. You earned this. Month 6. I closed a $1.4 million deal with a hospital system that had once told me they weren't interested. The commission on that alone was $97,000. I started apartment hunting downtown where the buildings had doormen and actual water pressure. Traded my Honda for a used but gorgeous Audi. Bought clothes that actually fit instead of whatever's on clearance. I joined a gym where the equipment wasn't held together by duct tape. It all felt good. Not the car, not the apartment, not the gym. Those were just props. What felt good was the quiet voice in my head when I fell into bed at midnight, exhausted, and knew I did that. I moved. I changed. The girl who had been too normal for his grid had just out-earned his entire yearly brand deal income in a single quarter. I thought that was the end of the story. I thought I'd simply upgraded my life and left him in the rear view. I had no idea that my new title, my new LinkedIn headline, and my new salary were about to become content in someone else's story again. 6 months after the breakup, my life looked nothing like the one Ethan had dismissed as too normal. I lived in a high-rise downtown now. Nothing ridiculous, but my windows actually had a view instead of a parking lot. My Audi sat in the garage instead of baking on the curb. My closet held clothes that fit like they'd been picked on purpose, not rescued from a discount bin. I was making more than double what I'd made when we were together. But the biggest difference was inside my own head. I walked into meetings like I belonged there. I spoke in numbers instead of apologies. I didn't flinch when a VP frowned at a slide. I asked what they needed changed. For the first time in my adult life, I felt like the main character in my own story instead of a guest star in someone else's. Then Instagram tapped me on the shoulder. I was at my desk late on a Tuesday, half listening to lo-fi beats, when my phone buzzed. Notification, at chloerose.studio mentioned you in their story. I frowned. Chloe, Ethan's influencer best friend. Tiny waist, huge eyes, perfect hair, 150,000 followers. I'd met her maybe 3 times when Ethan and I were dating. We'd exchanged pleasantries about charcuterie boards and lighting. That was it. I opened the app. Her story was a screenshot of my LinkedIn page. My headshot, my new title, Senior Enterprise Account Executive, my new company banner. Over it, in swirly text, she'd written, "So proud of this one. Massive congrats." My stomach dropped. We were not friends. We didn't follow each other. She had to scroll or search to find me. I tapped through to the next story. A boomerang of her raising a coffee cup. Caption: know someone killing it in their career? Celebrate them. My DMs pinged immediately. Chloe Rose. Studio. OMG, hey, saw your promotion. That's incredible. We should totally catch up soon. Coffee? I stared at it. I checked who had viewed her story. Ethan's handle was 3rd on the list. Of course it was. I locked my phone, set it face down, and went back to my spreadsheet. 5 minutes later, another DM. IDK, if you saw my last message, my DMs are chaos LOL. Just wanted to say I'm so happy for you. You deserve it. I typed one word. Thanks. Deleted it. Didn't respond. 30 minutes after that, my phone buzzed again. New DM, but not from her. From him, Ethan. Lux. Hey, long time. Saw the news about your promotion. That's amazing. Really happy for you. How have you been? 6 months of silence. Not a hope you're okay. Not a Merry Christmas. Just this. Now that my title had an extra word and my salary had an extra digit, I stared at his message, feeling nothing and everything at once. I typed back. Thanks. Sent it. Set the phone aside. He responded within 3 minutes. Senior account exec is such a big deal. You must be closing huge deals now. We should grab lunch sometime. Catch up properly. There it was. I could almost see him rehearsing it in the mirror. Don't think that's a good idea, I wrote. 3 dots. Vanish. 3 dots. Vanish. 3 dots again. Oh, come on, he replied. We were together for 2 years. We can be adults about it. You broke up with me because I wasn't successful enough for your Instagram. Now that I'm doing better, you want lunch. Pretty transparent. The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, came back. That's not what happened, he wrote. I never said you weren't successful. I just said my content is aspirational. You took it way too personally. I scrolled back through our old texts, found the conversation from that night. My followers would be like, wait, he's dating a regular girl with a regular job. It doesn't match the lifestyle he's selling. I took a screenshot, sent it. There was a longer pause this time. I was trying to be honest about my career, he replied. You twisted it into something else. It wasn't personal. Telling someone they're too normal to be seen with you is pretty personal, I wrote. I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, you did, and that's fine. We're just not compatible. Have a good one. Before he could respond, I hit block. His profile disappeared. The empty space where his handle used to be felt better than any promotion. For a week, everything was quiet again. I thought that was the end. Spoiler, it wasn't. The next wave came from his orbit. I was making coffee one morning when my phone lit up with a new notification. Chloe Rose Studio commented on your photo. I opened Instagram. She hadn't commented on my latest post. She'd gone back, way back. A year-old photo of me at a work event, blazer and name tag. Cheesy conference backdrop behind me. Her comment. Miss seeing you around Hope. You're doing amazing. Another notification. Different post. 2 years ago. Me at a baseball game, grinning with a foam finger. Such a cutie. We should hang soon. My skin crawled. Then the DM. Hey, not sure if you saw, but I'd really love to grab coffee. I have this idea I think you'd be perfect for. I left it on read. 10 minutes later, following up on my last message, my schedule's pretty open this week. Totally get it if you're busy, but I think this would be such a great opportunity for you. An hour after that, it's kind of rude to ignore people, you know. Just FYI. My jaw clenched. I'd spent half a year rebuilding myself from the inside out, and somehow I was back in Ethan's universe. Except now, I was a potential content asset instead of an off-brand girlfriend. I finally replied, "We're not friends. We met 3 times. I'm not interested in coffee." She called me. Not a DM, an actual call. I stared at her name on my screen, then swiped to answer because curiosity is louder than common sense. "Finally," she said. "Thought you died or something." "What do you want, Chloe?" I asked. She launched into it like she'd been waiting for a stage cue. "So I'm doing this content series on young professionals who are absolutely crushing it in their careers," she said. "Like career glow-up stories. People love that. From regular to exec vibes. Your story is so inspiring. My followers would eat it up." From regular. There was that word again. "Not interested," I said. "It wouldn't even be a big time commitment," she pushed. "Just like follow you around for a day, film some stuff at your office, your apartment, maybe a nice dinner spot, super casual. And honestly, the exposure would be great for you. Networking, personal brand." "I have a job," I cut in. "I don't need exposure." "Everyone needs exposure," she said. "It's 2025. Your online presence is basically your resume." "Hard pass," I said. She went quiet for a beat. "Can I ask why?" she said finally. "And be honest. Is this because of what happened with you and Ethan? Because he feels really bad about how things ended and—" "There it is," I said. "What?" "He put you up to this," I said. "Did he ask you to warm me up first, or did you two storyboard it together?" "No," she said quickly. "I mean, we talked about it, but this was my idea. I genuinely think you'd be great on camera and—" "Lose my number," I said. I hung up. Blocked her, too. For almost 2 days, things were quiet. Then came the event. It was one of those industry mixers my company co-sponsors. Sleek downtown hotel, generic jazz playing in the background, name tags that peel off at the worst times. I was mid-conversation with a potential client, walking them through how we could streamline their sales pipeline, when I saw him. Ethan, standing by the bar, doing that fake casual lean against the counter, scrolling on his phone while obviously scanning the room. He was dressed up for the cameras even here. Perfectly fitted dark shirt, layered necklaces, watch angled just right. His head lifted, our eyes met. He smiled like we were in a rom-com. I excused myself from the client with a polite, "Let me grab you one of our case studies," and cut across the room, intercepting him before he could drift toward our booth. "What are you doing here?" I asked. He spread his arms slightly. "It's a public event. Your company posted about it. I thought I'd come support local business." "This is a networking event for people in the industry," I said. "You're not in our industry." "I run a business," he protested. "Content creation is a real business, Lauren." "You're not invited," I said flatly. "You need to leave." His smile faltered. "Are you serious right now?" he said. "You're being ridiculous." "Showing up at my work event after I blocked you is ridiculous," I said. "You said what you needed to say 6 months ago. I believed you." "I just want to talk," he said, voice dropping. 5 minutes, please. We were together for 2 years. Doesn't that deserve a conversation?" "We had one," I said, "in your living room, when you told me I wasn't good enough for your brand. I'm just matching your energy." Heads were starting to turn. He glanced around, then lowered his voice. "Can we please just go somewhere private?" he asked. "There's a coffee shop next door. Just you and me. No drama, no cameras." "No," I said. "You won't even give me a chance to explain?" he asked. "Explain what?" I said. "You were honest. You didn't want to be seen dating a regular woman. I respected that. We're done." "I miss you," he blurted. He did look different now. Tired. Thinner. Less polished around the edges, like life had taken some of his filters away. "That's unfortunate," I said. I turned to walk back to my group. His hand closed around my wrist, not hard, but enough to stop me. "Please," he said softly. "I know I messed up. I think about it every day, what I said, how I said it. I was shallow and stupid, and I hurt you. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry." I looked at his hand on my skin. "Cool," I said. "Apology noted. Now let go." His fingers loosened. "That's it?" he asked, voice cracking. 2 years and you're just done? No second chance?" "You were done 6 months ago," I said quietly, "when you decided I wasn't worth a single square on your grid. I'm just catching up." I walked away, back to my potential client, who gave me a look that said he'd seen enough to understand. "X," he murmured later, over a drink. "Yep," I said. "Yikes," he said. I laughed for the first time that night. 2 days later, my boss appeared in my doorway, holding his phone. "Got a minute?" he asked. I followed him into a small conference room. He shut the door and opened his email. Subject line, concerning employee behavior. My stomach tightened. He slid the phone toward me so I could read. To whom it may concern, I'm writing to inform you about concerning behavior from one of your employees, Lauren Mitchell. She has been harassing and stalking me following the end of our relationship 6 months ago. She has sent threatening messages, shown up at locations I frequent, and made false statements about me to mutual acquaintances. I am documenting this behavior for potential legal action. I thought your company should be aware, as this reflects poorly on your organization and creates a hostile situation. I have screenshots and witnesses who can verify this pattern of behavior. Please address this matter urgently. Sincerely, Ethan Carter. I stared at the screen. Then I laughed once, disbelieving. Explain, my boss said calmly. I pulled out my phone, opened my blocked contacts, scrolled up through the message thread. This is our entire communication since the breakup, I said, turning it toward him. 6 months of nothing from him. Then Chloe tags my promotion. He DMs. I respond, thanks. He pushes for lunch. I say no. He blames me for taking it personally. I send a screenshot of what he actually said. Then I block him. He shows up at our event uninvited. That's the only in-person contact we've had. My boss read slowly, brows knitting. Can you forward this thread to me? He asked. Already did, I said, plus screenshots of Chloe's DMs and call. He exhaled. Good, he said. I'll loop in HR and legal. For now, don't respond to anything from him or his friends. We'll handle it. That night, our legal team sent a very polite, very sharp response. They'd investigated. They'd found no merit to his claims. Any further contact with the company regarding this matter would be considered harassment of their employee. I was CC'd. Seeing it in writing felt like someone had finally put a frame around my side of the story. For the first time since Ethan's name had popped back up on my screen, I felt safe. I thought maybe that would scare him off. I should have known better. For 2 days after the false HR complaint was shut down, everything went silent. Too silent. Silence isn't peace. It's pressure right before the next blow lands. And I should have trusted that feeling. The first crack in that quiet came from people I hadn't spoken to in half a year. Mutual friends of Ethan. People who used to treat me like background noise. Suddenly, they all remembered my number. The first message hit while I was brushing my teeth before work. Hey, Lauren. Been a while. Look, things got weird between you and Ethan. He's really been struggling. Maybe just hear him out? I ignored it. An hour later, Lauren, he regrets what he said. People make mistakes. Maybe meet him halfway? Ignored. By noon. It's been 6 months. Don't you think it's time to forgive? He's trying to grow. Muted the entire thread. By the end of the week, 4 different people from his circle had reached out saying nearly the same thing. Word for word, even the phrasing overlapped. As if they all rehearsed the lines in a group chat. I didn't respond to a single one. But it was obvious now, Ethan was building a narrative, and I was about to become the villain in it. The Friends public soft launch. Chloe, his influencer best friend, finally made her move. She posted a moody photo of a sunset, long caption. Watching someone you care about go through heartbreak is so hard. Sometimes pride gets in the way of second chances, but love always deserves room to grow. No name, no details. But the tone was unmistakable. If you know, you know. Her followers ate it up. Supportive emojis. Real love always wins. Tell your friend not to give up. He deserves better. I said nothing. Then Ethan himself escalated. Not a story, a full grid post. A 10-slide carousel. Photos of us. Us at dinner. Us laughing in a mirror selfie. Us on a weekend trip. All images he never posted while we were dating because I wasn't aspirational enough. His caption, I've made mistakes. I prioritize the wrong things. Sometimes you don't realize what matters until it's gone. Growing every day, missing what was real. My blood ran cold. He was rewriting history in public and making me the unnamed, heartless ex who refused to see his growth. Comments exploded. She needs to forgive you. Everyone deserves a second chance. You're showing so much vulnerability, proud of you, King. She'll come back. My inbox flooded with messages from strangers telling me to stop being so cold and give him another chance. I didn't reply to any of them, but the message was clear. He'd turned himself into the wounded protagonist, and me into the cruel antagonist refusing to forgive him. The doorbell. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. I was sipping coffee in my sweatshirt, hair in a claw clip, enjoying the weekend silence, when the doorbell rang. The intercom screen lit up. Ethan stood in the lobby, holding 2 coffees and a bag from the upscale bakery downtown, the one with the $7 croissants he used to say weren't worth the carbs. I hit the intercom button. What are you doing here? His voice crackled over the speaker. I brought breakfast. Please, Lauren. Can we talk? Really talk? Just 20 minutes. I'll leave after, I promise. I should have hung up. But curiosity is a powerful thing, especially when facing someone who once made you feel invisible. Against every instinct, I grabbed my keys and took the elevator down. When I stepped into the lobby, he looked different. No styled hair, no perfect outfit, no camera-ready posture. He was in sweatpants, eyes red, face tired. A version of him I'd never seen. Thank you for coming down, he murmured. You have 10 minutes, I said. He swallowed, nodding. I screwed up, he began. Massively. What I said 6 months ago, how I treated you, everything. I was shallow, I was awful, I didn't appreciate you. I said nothing. I've been in therapy, he continued. I've been unpacking a lot. I realize now that I valued the wrong things. You were good to me, patient, grounded, supportive, and I threw it away for aesthetics. Okay, I said neutrally. That's it? He blinked. That's all you have to say? You apologized, I said. I heard it. He stepped closer, voice trembling. I love you. I didn't flinch. Ethan, I said quietly, be honest. If I was still making $78K and driving my old Civic, would you be standing here with coffee and croissants? He froze, mouth parting, no words. The silence was the answer. I nodded once. Exactly. That doesn't mean my feelings aren't real now, he whispered. They might be, I said, but that doesn't change the timing. He stared at me, wounded. So that's it? You're just done? You killed this 6 months ago, I said. You don't get to resurrect it because the math looks different now. This isn't math, he whispered. Isn't it? I asked. You didn't want to be seen with me when I was normal. Now I'm successful enough to fit your aesthetic again. That's not love, Ethan. That's branding. His eyes filled with tears. This isn't you. You're being cold. I'm being honest, I said. Thought you appreciated honesty. I turned and walked toward the elevator. He called after me. I'll wait. I didn't look back. However long it takes, he shouted. I'll prove it. The elevator doors closed between us, and I exhaled, shaky but free. Or so I thought. The mother. 2 days later, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. I answered out of habit. A stern voice said, You need to stop playing games with my son. I blinked. Who is this? This is Ethan's mother, she snapped. He's a mess. Crying, not eating, barely working. And it's because you're being vindictive. Ma'am, I said carefully, your son broke up with me because I wasn't successful enough for his Instagram. I moved on. He's the one showing up at my building. He apologized, she said. He's trying to make things right, and you're punishing him. I'm not punishing anyone, I said evenly. I'm just not interested. You're going to regret this, she said. He'll find someone better. I hope he does, I replied. Have a good day. I hung up. Blocked the number. But Ethan wasn't done. Not even close. 4 days later, I was served legal papers at work. A cease and desist letter claiming that I was harassing him, that I was defaming him, damaging his business reputation, causing him severe emotional distress. My lawyer laughed out loud reading it. This isn't even a good intimidation tactic, he said. We'll shut it down. He drafted a response that was scathing in its professionalism. A warning. A line drawn in legal ink. Any further attempts to contact you could result in a restraining order. We mailed it certified. I thought that would finally force him to stop. But Ethan didn't want to stop. Ethan wanted an audience. The next phase wasn't private. It wasn't quiet. It wasn't rational. It was theatrical. And it made the first 2 acts look like warm-ups. The public meltdown, the doxing, and the company lawyers. The legal letter should have been the final boundary. A normal person would have read restraining order and backed off. But Ethan wasn't operating on normal logic anymore. He wasn't trying to win me back. He was trying to win the internet. And in his world, the truth mattered less than the story. The meltdown begins. It started the evening after my lawyer's response was delivered. I was in my kitchen making dinner when my phone lit up with a DM from a coworker. Have you seen Ethan's stories? I opened Instagram. Ethan was crying. Not influencer crying with perfect lighting and a single aesthetic tear. He was sobbing. Red blotchy face, unfiltered, breathing hard. Slide 1. Sometimes you give your whole heart to someone and they throw it away. Slide 2. Real love requires forgiveness, but some people only know pride. Slide 3. Success means nothing if you're alone. Slide 4. We all make mistakes. We all deserve grace. No names. No tags. But I could practically taste the subtext. The comments rolled in. She doesn't deserve you. Some people can't handle a real man. If she can't forgive, she never loved you. You're growing. She's stuck. I locked my phone. Felt the familiar pressure building in my chest, rage mixed with humiliation. For months, I hadn't posted about Ethan. I hadn't mentioned him. I hadn't even spoken his name aloud unless HR asked me to. But he was crafting a narrative starring me as the heartless, vindictive ex who destroyed him. And his followers were eating it up. The grid post, the novel. The next day, he escalated again. A grid post. A full, written, dramatic manifesto. Photo. Ethan sitting on the floor, back against a wall, head in his hands, eyes red. Caption. Being vulnerable right now. I made mistakes in a past relationship. Big ones. I prioritized the wrong things. I took someone for granted. I've been in therapy for months trying to grow, trying to be better. I reached out with an apology. Real, heartfelt, honest. But some people would rather hold grudges than see genuine change. Growth is painful. Rejection is painful. But I'm choosing to believe I'll find someone who values love over ego, healing over punishment. Sending love to anyone who's been hurt but still found the courage to change. Thousands of comments. Heart emojis. You'll find your queen. You deserve someone mature. She doesn't know what she's losing. Stay strong, King. I didn't recognize the cause of their heartbreak rage, but I recognized the target. Me. He had cast himself as the wounded protagonist in a redemption arc, and me as the cold-hearted villain refusing to let him grow. The influencer friend amplifies. Then Chloe, the one who'd tried to recruit me for a career glow-up video, shared his post to her story with her own commentary. Watching strong men rise from the ashes of heartbreak is inspiring. Some people can't handle seeing someone they hurt becoming stronger. A dagger disguised as empowerment. I hadn't said a word publicly, but according to their script, I was now. Toxic, bitter, unforgiving, ruining his life, standing in the way of his growth journey. I said nothing. Again. But silence didn't protect me. Silence became a vacuum, and someone filled it. The doxing. 3 days after his grid post, my phone buzzed nonstop as I was in a meeting. Missed call, DM request, email notification, another DM, 3 more. When the meeting ended, I checked my phone. A girl on Instagram, maybe 300 followers total, posted a story. A photo of me. A screenshot of my LinkedIn. My full name, my job title, my company. Caption. This is the girl who dumped Ethan after he made one mistake. He's making 6 figures and she still can't forgive him. She's heartless. Typical career woman with no empathy. Within an hour, dozens of people reshared it. DMs flooded in. You're trash. You ruined him. You don't deserve your job. I hope your company fires you. I know where you work now. You better watch your back. I made my Instagram private on the spot. My hands shook the entire time. I wasn't scared of Ethan. I was scared of the strangers who now knew my name and workplace and believed I was a villain. HR meeting. By 4 p.m., my boss called me into a conference room. He looked exhausted. Lauren, we received several emails. He slid his laptop toward me. Inbox subject lines. Urgent. Your employee is emotionally abusive. Why do you employ someone who harasses men? Firing request. Dangerous employee. Your company should be ashamed. My face burned. I didn't do anything, I said quietly. I know, he replied. We've seen the messages, the timeline, the legal letters. You've handled everything appropriately, but we need to escalate this. Our company's legal team got involved, not for my sake, for the company's reputation. They drafted 3 cease and desist letters. To Ethan, to Chloe, to the random follower who doxed me. Each letter said, in legal but unmistakable terms, stop directing harassment at our employee, or we will pursue legal action. Within 24 hours, everything vanished. Ethan's stories disappeared. The crying grid post vanished. Chloe's vague, strong men rising story was gone. The girl who posted my LinkedIn deleted her entire account. But the damage lingered in my inbox. Hundreds of hateful DMs, strangers threatening my job, people branding me as emotionally abusive based on lies. The internet never deletes the memory of a good scandal. Even after the posts were gone, the effects lingered like smoke after a fire. The quiet that follows a storm. Over the next 2 weeks, the chaos slowly faded. The DMs slowed, the comments stopped. HR closed the incident file. My boss told me, "We've got your back." But I still jumped whenever my phone buzzed. Still checked over my shoulder leaving the office. Still kept my Instagram private. Still wondered how many people now carried a false image of me in their heads. The encounter. 3 weeks later, life was finally beginning to feel normal again when I bumped into someone from Ethan's friend group at a downtown coffee shop of all places. She saw me first and gave a small, awkward wave. I braced myself. She approached with a tentative smile. Hey, Lauren, how are you? Fine, I said, neutral. She shifted her weight. Look, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about everything that happened. The social media stuff, it got really out of hand. That's one way to put it, I said. For what it's worth, she added softly, some of us knew the full story. We tried to tell him to let it go, but he was struggling. I didn't respond. She hesitated, then said, He's doing better now, though. Started seeing someone new. Some guy who works in real estate. They're pretty serious. I blinked. A guy. Oh, she laughed nervously. I mean, a guy she's dating. Ethan's dating a woman now. Sorry, bad phrasing. They look good together. Like, aesthetic, you know? I nodded once. Good for him, I said. Yeah, anyway, just wanted to clear the air. Hope you're doing well. Thanks, I said. She left. I sat there sipping my coffee, processing. Ethan had a new partner now. Someone who fit the image he wanted. Someone who looked better on his grid. And with that realization, something inside me unhooked. A weight I hadn't realized I was still carrying fell away. He'd found someone aspirational. I'd found myself. It was finally over. Or so I thought. Because the final part of this story wasn't about Ethan at all. It was about me, finally choosing a life that didn't revolve around being seen. By the time my coworker's friend walked away from that coffee shop table, I realized something I hadn't let myself fully acknowledge. I wasn't angry anymore. Not at Ethan, not at Chloe, not at the strangers who attacked my inbox, not even at the girl who doxed me. I was done. Done with being part of anyone's narrative but my own. Everything about him, his brand, his followers, his drama, felt like a distant, noisy city I'd moved away from. Still loud, still messy, still full of flashing lights, but no longer my problem. Life became quiet again. Not the suffocating silence that waits for the next explosion. A good quiet, a clean quiet, like a room after you've finally thrown away everything that no longer belongs to you. The promotion. 2 months later, my boss called me into his office. He didn't drag it out. Lauren, he said, we're promoting you to Enterprise Sales Director. I stared at him. Director? I repeated. As in managing a team? He grinned. As in managing a team, overseeing 7- and 8-figure accounts, and leading strategy for the entire region. My stomach flipped. He slid an offer packet across the desk. Congratulations, you earned every bit of this. My salary nearly tripled the number Ethan once mocked. But the number wasn't what hit me. It was the fact that I hadn't done any of it for revenge. I'd done it because I finally saw myself clearly. Because I finally believed that normal didn't mean less. Because his rejection became the spark, not the fuel. The new apartment, the new routine. I moved into a condo closer to the river. Warm wood floors, big windows, quiet hallways. No prime lighting for Instagram. No curated corners. No luxury aesthetic. Just a home where I could breathe. I traded trendy restaurants for a small neighborhood coffee shop that learned my name. I bought plants that weren't purchased because they were photogenic, but because they made the place feel alive. I deleted every photo I'd ever taken for Ethan. Kept the ones I'd taken for myself. I stopped looking at my reflection like it needed to be marketable. I started looking at it like it needed to be true. The new relationship. It happened quietly. Naturally. Through work, of all places. Michael worked in procurement for one of our major client companies. We'd met a few times over Zoom, then in person at a quarterly review. The first thing I noticed was his voice. Warm, steady, confident, not performative. The second thing I noticed was the way he listened with his whole face, not waiting for his turn to talk. One day after a meeting, he walked me to the elevator and said, You know, I've never met anyone who can explain enterprise pricing structures without putting me to sleep. I laughed. High praise. A week later, he emailed, If you ever want to grab dinner sometime, not for work, I'd like that. We went. It was easy. No photos of the meal, no rehearsed smiles, no strategically angled lighting. Just conversation. Real unfiltered conversation. He talked about hiking and cooking and his sister's kids. I talked about work and plants and books I never used to make time for. He didn't ask for my Instagram. He didn't care that I didn't curate anything. 3 weeks in, I introduced him to my friends. After he left that night, my best friend pulled me aside. Lauren, she whispered, he's great. Like actual adult great, not Instagram great. I smiled without meaning to. Yeah, I said, I like him. And I did. Not because he made me look good, because he made me feel good. like myself, without performance. The final screenshot. A week after that dinner, my friend sent me a screenshot. Ethan's Instagram. A glossy photo of him and his new girlfriend at an upscale restaurant, her hand on his chest, his chin angled just right. Candlelight. Aesthetic blur. Caption. Sometimes you lose something not meant for you, because better things are waiting. Comments. She's so pretty. Y'all are perfect together. Upgrade. Manifesting this kind of love. My friend texted, "You good?" I surprised myself by responding, "Yeah, I'm really good." I meant it, because for the first time in years, my reaction wasn't pain. It wasn't bitterness. It wasn't even satisfaction. It was indifference. He looked happy. She looked happy. And I was happy too, but in a different way. Not the kind of happiness you post, the kind you live. The truth I learned. Here's the thing no one tells you. Being told you're too normal by the wrong person is better than being accepted by them. Because it forces you to ask, normal to who? According to what? And why does their opinion matter? What Ethan called normal was actually stability. What he called mid-level was consistency and integrity. What he dismissed as not aspirational enough was the foundation of a real life, not a curated one. I didn't need a glow-up for Instagram. I needed one for myself, and I built it. Not out of spite, not out of revenge, not out of the need to be seen, but out of the need to finally see myself. The real upgrade. Ethan upgraded his aesthetic. I upgraded my entire life. Not the surface, the soul. I found a career I'm proud of, a home I feel safe in, a partner who values substance over spectacle, friends who know the real me, a future that's not performative. Ethan found someone who fits his brand. I found someone who fits my heart. He built an Instagram-worthy life. I built an actual life. And I'll take actual over aesthetic every single day.